Dear viewers, welcome to BW Legal World. I'm your host Ashima Ohri, and today we are in conversation with Mr. Ravi Singhania, Managing Partner, Singhania and Partners. Welcome to BW Legal World, sir. It's a pleasure to have you with us today.
Thank you, Ashima.
So you set up your firm Singhania and Partners in the year 1999. You're also the youngest lawyer to be felicitated with the National Law Day Award for Corporate Laws 2006 by erstwhile Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh. You're on the board of companies like CRISIL Limited and governing board member of the Indian Council of Arbitration. So would you please share with our viewers, where did this journey begin and how were your initial years in the legal industry?
My journey started a bit early, being a second generation lawyer. I saw my father in my schooling days getting ready for the courts. He was a litigator and he started as a litigator. So seeing a lawyer then was very different from what you see of lawyers in different hues today. But it was a very interesting journey seeing him, feeling the warmth in the clients whom he serviced and the kind of respect he got. So I definitely thought this was something a profession I would want to be. But interestingly, over the years, my interest in finance and accounting was much more than just pure law. And I was at one stage deviating towards doing management or a chartered accountancy program. But as journey takes it, finally I did become a lawyer.
That's great, sir. And at what point exactly did you decide to pursue law? And you've already mentioned your father was the guiding North Star for you in that regard. But any other mentors in your journey who...
Law was something I was definitely very keen for, but my interest in finance and management was pushing me towards a managerial program. But I studied BCom from Shriram College of Commerce, where there were only two pursuits everybody had in those days. Either you became a chartered accountant or you pursued MBA post your undergraduate degree. And the way the MBA cutthroat competition was, I thought this is not a healthy program to get into, where everybody's trying to scramble on one top of the other. And the way we saw our friends from the CA fraternity faltering and failing successively because of the low intake which the CA profession kept for themselves, I thought this is not for me. I'd rather do something more generalist. And then again, I switched back to the law mode. And by the final year from the law school, from the undergraduate BCom college, I was sure I wanted to do law.
So did you intern with some people that you can share with us? Any memorable moments from your internships and your struggling time maybe?
In my time, there was no such thing as internship in those days. What I passed out in undergraduate from law in 1993, and that time, you only joined the profession once you cleared all the LLB exams. But coming from a legal background and my father being a lawyer, I had the privilege of working with him throughout my college days, 3 years in the BCom days, as well as 3 years post that as well at the law school. So I was at his office every day after college. So, which was not formally recognized that time as an internship, but now I look back and see it was practical internship for me for 6 years, even before I joined the profession with the bar degree.
And speaking of one of your areas of practices, coming to litigation and ADR, what is the state of litigation and ADR in India in the current COVID environment?
Right now, I think for most lawyers, it's a very difficult time. And even for the large firms, it's not an easy time. The courts initially they were taking only absolutely urgent matters. Now they're taking more cases throughout the country. In Bangalore and other cities where the incidence of COVID infection was lower, they had started physical courts as well, both at the High Court and District Court levels. But Mumbai and other cities, the physical courts have been shut since March. and that significantly reduces the opportunities for lawyers to represent their client before the court. But I think this has given a different opportunity for the entire legal system here. I think this is a time now when we can look at like what we were doing wrong, and also what we can now do differently to expedite the legal system. Most people domestically as well as internationally, when they think of our legal system, they think it's mired with backlogs and delays and almost like justice denied. In the circumstances, I think the e-courts, which were being contemplated for a long time, have suddenly become a reality. The question is, can we make them practical? A number of lawyers don't have the like understanding of using electronic uh, media to connect with the courts or the litigants. But I think that can be eased. That pain can be eased, and it could be more widely available, and the judicial system could be far more efficient in the manner in which we're doing. The lawyers don't need to run to different courts. The courts can more systematically plan their day as to how many hearings they hear. I think what might be useful is to look at the systems in some of the Western countries where there is a requirement that you file your heads of arguments ahead of time, that you have a limited time allotted to both the sides for their arguments, and there's a scheduled hearing when the matters take place, and the adjournments are not granted so easily. I think those are the systems which we need to put in place today to couple with the video conferencing and virtual courts, and I think our system could go a long way.
And any thoughts on document only online dispute resolution? Some of those things are coming up now, where you just have documents only, dispute resolution through online mechanisms. So, what do you think is the way ahead for such platforms?
I think a lot of commercial disputes could be document only. In real terms, there is no oral like agreements amongst the parties in the real commercial world. Everything is, there's a paper trail, there are documents, and I feel a lot of the disputes could be resorted to only document only dispute resolution. In fact, currently also the ICANN, the internet body which resolves domain disputes, there the arbitrations are document only. They do not allow oral hearings or do not have evidence by any other way except submission of documents. I think this could be a reality in many more commercial disputes and reduce the time the courts take to delivering justice.
Thank you, Mr. Singhania. And what can law firms do today to survive in an era of disruption?
I think there is a famous author, Richard Susskind, and he's published some horrible books, if I may say so, which says end of the legal profession and the like. And this the word they have used is metaphorical. I think there's a lot of scope for efficiency in our legal profession, which unfortunately is not there for various reasons. And this is what the law firms need to look at. They need to look at this as a service, very noble profession, a service which we're rendering to the clients. But at the same time, there are a lot of things we need to change the way we practice our profession. The dependence upon the arguing counsel, the senior counsel in hearings, because the courts have limited time, which increases the cost for the clients significantly and creates certain biases in the system as to who's appearing and for whom and all of those things that need to change. And also we need to look at the legal services as a product. Not everything requires state of the art, creative thinking. A lot of things are routine services which the legal profession can give to the business and common layman for justice. And we need to evolve our profession to bifurcate where do we need some really brain surgeon kind of thinking and new ideas, and which are the services which can be commoditized, and not commoditized in a bad way, but commoditized in a way that the justice is available to the common man.
On that note, what would be your advice to the next generation of lawyers left in the lurch because of the pandemic?
I think if you look at the current situation and decide your future, that would be a very sad way to look at things. In the history, there are a number of instances which are once upon a lifetime kind of instance, but that does not mean that life does not exist beyond those. This pandemic is a horrible situation for most people, not only for lawyers. A lot of professions and businesses have gone under right now, but I think these would come back again. It's a time for the young lawyers to think how would they want to run their practice post pandemic. How would they want to shape their career post pandemic? Is their only way to survive is to act as lawyers in the traditional sense, or something more than that you can do? I think some of those things, like, whether there's an in-house choice, whether you want to be in corporate litigation, how do you want to shape your career? A lot of those questions one would need to think, and I think there would be many opportunities for these youngsters. Definitely the next few years would be difficult, but I see the profession still being very important and relevant to the society, and would stay there for a long time.
Sure, sir. And I ask this question to everybody simply to be able to help our viewers. As a person, as a managing partner for law firm, what do you look for in a person? Would it be more experience or a good LLM degree from somewhere, or specialization? What are your thoughts on this?
The question, my thoughts on an issue like, for young lawyers is, what did they do in the undergraduate or graduate programs of law? How did they shape themselves? What efforts did they make in their career? Usually, like, when you come out of school and you think of college, you think of a fun time. Definitely, it is a great fun time. But after the party is over, the first 3 to 6 months, you have still 5 to 6 years journey of becoming a lawyer. Did you spend your summers and other vacations working to learn more, or did you spend your time just like, traveling the world? Both are great options, and I think a combination of that. What extracurricular activities did you take? Not everybody is able to reach some of the best schools, and I would say number of schools, apart from the few coveted ones, are also great schools with great teachers. I did from Campus Law Center, and I think I still very fondly remember some very good teachers from my time, and I had a good learning at the Campus Law Center. Same way, if they are able to utilize the time well for the 5 years, I don't think so they need to do a program of LLM or anything else. However, having said that, and they want to go ahead and learn, specialize, or go overseas for education or do something more, LLM is not a bad program, but I would definitely recommend that they have a gap. They work for a few years at a law firm or with their counsel, hone their practical skills. And once they understand a law a bit more, then they go for the master's program. It would be far more relevant for them.
Sure, sir. And speaking of the first 5 years of someone's career, I understand there are no low-hanging fruits in the legal profession. So competitive salary packages either come after years of experience, or some would say after working with big names in the industry. What would be your thoughts on that?
I think lawyers are a privileged community today, but not everyone in the legal who joins the legal profession is very privileged. Definitely, the law firms have made the profession more lucrative for young lawyers to come, and the compensation they're paying is pretty decent for a young person to start, and it can compete with an engineer, doctor, or chartered accountant in any other profession. Obviously, the benchmark here is getting into a good law school determines what kind of compensation later on. And even if you didn't go to the good law schools, but if you did some good work during your degree program, definitely you could get good placements. And the only difference is if you join a individual counsel at the high court or district court, their remunerations are far lower and their ability to pay is far lower. So that's a choice which you're making if you're looking for a litigation career, investing further, working with a counsel at the in counsel chambers in the courts. That's not a bad idea. It's just that your compensation gets deferred for some more time. It's the different options and different people. And I've seen some of the very bright students who have got offer from any of the tier one firms. Sometimes they choose that they do not wish to pursue the money pursuit, but invest more or hone their skills with an arguing counsel at the courts or in the judges' chambers. So it's different choices for different individuals. As long as you're able to make out what you're looking for and what your journey would be, and of course, some good luck is definitely needed in everything.
Thanks, sir. That's quite encouraging. Uh, in the same vein, would you please share some pearls of wisdom from the treasure trove of your own experiences in the industry? Any success mantra or tips for lawyers wanting to establish their own practice?
I think a couple of things I've always thought which helped me is I always felt that humility is in this profession and most professions very important. Today, as a father, I feel a lot of and seeing a lot of youngsters, they all feel very entitled. And when I started practice, we were trained to be, I think, trained to be far more humble, and we were shown our place rightly or wrongly if we ever stepped out of the line. Hard work, perseverance, and patience. All of those definitely help. There's no shortcut to success in any profession, let alone law. So I think those are the very key words. And what comes your way and spending quality time on doing that, a good job, and not thinking whether litigation is excellent or the best choice, or corporate is the best choice, or in-house, or at a firm, or your own practice. They're all good choices. Whatever you do, give your best to it.
Thank you, sir. And the most pertinent questions of all, are you hiring? And if yes, other than good legal acumen, what are the other important skills you're looking for in lawyers joining your firm?
I think hiring, we're still hiring. During the pandemic also, we hired about 4 people. We did not terminate anybody's retainer with us, but we did let go some people on mutual basis, those who wish to pursue in-house career role or otherwise. And I think it's a bend in the road and it's not end of the road. So the hirings this year would be much slower, but definitely you need to get fresh blood in to keep your practice alive. You would definitely look at, like, some of the practice areas would be more focused than the others, hiring talent in that. I think another important area is for lawyers to retrain themselves. There are certain practices which have done extremely well in this pandemic, despite everything. Employment law practice is one such thing where, again, the question of terminations and compensation comes in. But that's an area which is not looked at very carefully by a lot of youngsters. I think that's an important area. Real estate planning would again come into place, where people would need to think very differently. How do they plan their force majeure clauses and other such things? So that would be important. So I'm not saying that we would be hiring at the same strength as every year, but definitely we are hiring. We will continue to look at growing the practice. As a firm, we've taken a hit in terms of the revenues, but we're going to invest in future, and us looking forward to many more successful years.
Sure, sir, and good luck to you for that. And I'm sure our viewers are going to be delighted to know that there is scope for joining you.
Thank you, Ashima. Enjoyed having this conversation with you. Thank you to hearing me out.
And thank you so much again for sharing your valuable insights with us, Mr. Singhania. It's been a pleasure speaking with you today. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Ashwin.